welcome to Technocraft Academy. My name is Tim Singh. This is the second lesson in the second lesson in CSS. Sorry. Last class, if you can remember, I said something like, going forward, we are going to be touching other properties of CSS, saying font weight and stuff like that. They will move to text align. They will move to box model, and so of course we go in that progression. So we're going to be starting out with what we said we're going to be starting with. So let's head up to our command prompt to create a directory and cd into the directory. So if you're on Mac, you can just go to terminal. Of course, you can find the terminal. You will see a search bar at the topmost part of your machine. So why, if you're on Windows, right now I'm on Windows, so I'm going to make use of command prompt. So of course we are there. Just, you don't have to run as administrator, you can just open directly. So first of all, you cd to the desktop. For reasons I'm yet to understand, some machines may not, if you try to cd to desktop, it might not work. Try to cd into downloads, or try to cd into document, or whatsoever that works for you if you're on Windows. So just cd into document. And if you're on mobile, you can just of course go through the method of opening folder, which we have been using anyways. So at this point in our lessons, I don't think I should be introducing you, or I don't think I should be talking or trying to refer back to how the primitive stage of our training. So that said, of course, let me make directory. So by saying make directory, I mean create folder. Let me call it CSS2. You can name it anything, but I'm going to call mine CSS2. Okay, subsidiary of file CSS2 already exists. Okay, let me say CSS lesson 2. CSS lesson 2. Sorry, excuse me, I didn't make the directory. Let me just go back. mkdir space, enter that. I think that is made. Let me open it again. Okay, so let me just cd into it, cd into the directory which you have created. Directory means folder, remember. So after that, I think I've cd into it. So let me head up to VS Code by typing code space dot. By typing code space dot, it will route you to VS Code. So okay, fine, I have a perfect zoom already. So let me zoom back in so that I can create a word wrap and do the normal settings before I zoom out for your for you to have a perfect view of what I'm doing. So let me zoom in, please, for now. So first of all, I have to close this. Of course, I have to close this. Let me go ahead and create a better, let me create a word wrap. Okay, not yet. So here I'm going to create two files. This is an ordinary folder, it's a directory, so never mind if I try to create CSS and HTML file. I'm just trying to, of course, normal development, I wouldn't want to structure the file system in this manner, but of course for educational purpose I should just do it so as for us to have a grasp of what we are trying to do. The most important thing right here is just for us to pass knowledge, and of course in our practical training I wouldn't be structuring file in this manner. So permit me as I try to impart using this system. Thank you. So I'm going to create a file, say index.css. You can name your CSS anything, but I'm going to name my index.css, of course. So let me create another file, say let me create index.html, of course, because we're going to be targeting HTML elements, so, and of course classes, attributes, and stuff. So instead of us to just be creating a CSS, of course we need HTML elements and attributes and classes to target. So there's every need for us to create an HTML file. So let's create that. So let me create the boilerplate code, which we know is normal. So of course, by creating the boilerplate code, let me go ahead and collapse this. I don't need these, remember, I don't need these. Of course, I don't need these. It's just commented codes. Then of course, I don't need these JavaScripts. So because they are on the same line, there's the same directory, I don't need to do an absolute referencing. I'll just do a direct referencing. So because I'm going to be targeting, I'm going to be using an external file system, external cascading style, cascading style. You understand, style sheet. So I don't need to. I think I'll need to reference it. So I'm not going to be using internal. I'm going to be restricting us to external CSS type. So I'm going to be referencing the index.css, index.what, CSS. So that is that. So let me just create okay, want to start out with font weight. So let's say sorry, excuse me, let's say h1 sorry, h1. So h1, let's say I want to call my h1 say font size or font weight. Let's say I want to call it font weight, and then let me create a p tag. Say I want to create a p tag. I want to create a p tag and say what title should I give it? What paragraph should I give it? Let me say this is a vertical, for example. Let me say this is a vertical. Okay, then of course let me give it an ID of say font, an ID of font. Okay, and that is that. So let me zoom out. Sorry, excuse me, I forgot to zoom out. Okay, so that you can have okay, let me first of all zoom back in, then create a view and create a word wrap. The essence of this word wrap is for every content to come on a new line. If I'm trying to exhaust the space, the viewport of my screen. So if I exhaust the size of my screen, instead of the content to be hidden, you know, it will come on a new line. So that is the essence of word wrap. So let me zoom out so as for you to have a perfect view of what I'm trying to do. So that is that. So let me go to the CSS file, and of course let me target our I'm going to be targeting the ID of the paragraph tag. So let me target that. Let's say, remember, to target an ID you need what? You need the pound sign, which is the hash key. So what is the name of the ID? I mean the the attribute. I'm going to be targeting an attribute, sorry. So remember, to target an ID attribute you need a pound sign, and of course what's the name of the attribute? We call it font. We call it font, if you can remember. So create a squiggly bracket, punch and enter key. So what are we going to be doing? Let's give it an attribute. Let's give it a CSS property of say font size. Of course, let me say font size. Of course, you will see IntelliSense is already giving us is already suggesting for us. So let me create this. I don't need to type, of course, it formatted it the way it should. So let me say a vertical. Let me say I want to have something like say a vertical comma sans serif. You understand? Let me say I want to give it a vertical sans serif. Then let me say I want to target my h1 as well. Let me target the h1. Let me target the h1 squiggly bracket, punch enter, and of course there's no need for me to put, because I didn't put an ID or a class as an attribute. So I just need to say, okay, let me create a font size so as for me to differentiate the two font sizes. So let me say Of course, by clicking this, it will format it in a way that I should. Let me say I want to give these, say, I want to give this, say, I want to give this a let me give it time Roman sans serif. Let me give it a time Roman sans serif. Let me see which one will be better. Okay, let me just leave it at New Romans. Let me see Time New Romans. Let me just see Time New Romans. Times okay, because I'm going to be putting space, so let me just say times New Romans, Time New Roman, and say, let me give it a kind of serif. Let me give it serif. Let me say, give it Time New Roman. Now, observe that. Okay, let me first of all go live so that we can have it. We can see what we are doing. Then I'll come back to explaining this so that we won't have a confusion here, because I did something here of which I believe some of you would have noticed some kind of changes between the value of this CSS property and the value of this CSS property. So let's go live. So okay, by going live, you will see that this is we have a bug here. I'll get that off. Let me quickly get that off so that we can. So what happened? Let's go to our HTML file. Okay, we have it here. That's a bug. So let's go back let's collapse this and let's go back to live. So of course that is removed. So this is Time New Roman serif. Then of course this is a vertical sans serif. So let me show you what happened on the CSS, why the value of each CSS property changed. Let's go back to our CSS. You will observe that here this vertical is not this vertical here is not in quotes. You understand? And this is highlighted in white color. Now, do you know why this has to be in quotes? Excuse me. This has to be in quotes. It's in quotes basically because I tried to put a space in between each word. You know, Times New Roman is not a one command word. It's not all in one command. Helvetica is all in one command. So because I'm putting a space, I'm having a white space in between times and new, and times and new, of course, and new and Roman. So it is mandatory that I put in a quote. You understand? And of course, serif will be highlighted as a result of that. Then please get note of that. Take note of that. So that is that about other font weight. So of course we have several other font weights which you can always try to access. Of course, if you need more font weight, you can go to let me create a text file. Excuse me. Let me create a text file. If you need more font weight, go to this website. Say www. If you need more fonts.google.com. So if you go to www.fonts.google.com, you get more fonts. You understand that you need to get. So that is that. So now let's move to text align. Text align. Sorry. Uppercase text align. Now, if you go to our the body of our website, you will see that by default text on the web page is aligned on the left. So which means any text, any content on the web page is aligned to the left by default, especially text content is aligned to the left. So we're gonna move, let's say we want to move this to the center using CSS. what you are going to do is just target the either the element or the attribute whatsoever, and you simply move it to the what, to the center. So let's do that. Let's see how that is working in practical. Let's say we go there, and let's go to our CSS, and let's say let's target I don't need to create another H1. I can just put it here. I can say I can put it here. I don't need to create another H1 because of course I already have an H1 that I'm targeting. So I will just put the property there and say text, sorry, excuse me, text align. Of course you will see that IntelliSense have highlighted it. So we can say center. We have different kind of align. You say hand, left, right, center, and all that. So let's go with center. We want to put it in center, and let's see how that is working in practical. Let's collapse this. Of course I don't need to collapse it because of course everything is updating live, because I'm using the local port to run the server as I'm working on the CSS code. It will be updating live by itself. So let's go live. So you see that font weight as what, align center. So the assignment I'm going to be giving you now is that I want you to align these to this side, like Arabic, let it align to this side. You understand? So I want to see how you're going to using CSS. Please align this is a vertical to this side. You understand? So the next thing we're going to be talking about here is the CSS boss model. We've dealt with alignment, so let's go to CSS boss model. CSS boss model. CSS boss model. What is CSS boss model? You might be wondering that, okay, what is CSS boss model? What is boss doing in CSS? Anyway, I would need to explain that. The CSS boss model is just like a fundamental concept in web development that describes how elements on the web page are visually represented and how their dimensions are calculated. So it consists of 4 main components. These are the components of boss model. It consists of 4 main components. We have the content. We have the content. We have the padding. We have the we have the border. We have the border, and we have the margin. So these are the four main components of boss model. You understand? So what are the definitions of this? Okay, content. By content, the content is the content area is the innermost part of an HTML. The HTML element, such as the text, images, videos, or other media. It represents the actual content of the element. So the weight and the height of an element content area can be specified using the CSS properties, width and height, of course. So then we go to the padding. So what is this padding talking about? This padding here. The padding is the space between the content area and the elements border. So it is used to create space around the content, separating it from the border. You understand? So padding can be set using the padding property and can be specified independently for each side of the elements, like say top, right, bottom, left, and what have you. So this now brings us down to border. What is border? The border surrounds the padding and the content area. This border here, what it does is it surrounds the padding and the content area, defining the visible boundary of the element. It can be set using of course the border, just as the name is written here. The border property, and can also have individual properties for border width, border style, border color, and what have you. Then we have the margin. What is the margin? The margin is the space between an element's border and a neighboring element. It creates some kind of space around the element and helps control the layout of elements on the page. The margin property is used to set the margin, and like the padding, it can be specified independently for each side. You understand? So the total let's say the total width and height of an element are calculated by, say, adding the content width and height, padding and border widths together. The margin is not included in the calculation, to take note. So this means that if you set the width or height of an element, the final size of the element will be larger, including the padding and border. So for example, let's say we have something like this. For example, let's say let's say I'm targeting a div, for example, I have something like this, and I have, say, width. I have width to be what, 200 pixel, for example. I have width to be 200 pixel. Let's say I have height to be say 100 pixel. Let's say I have padding to be, say, 10 pixel. Let's say I have border. Let's say I have border to be 2 pixel, solid black, for example. Let's say I have this. Let's say I have margin. Say I have margin 20 pixel. You understand? So from here you will see that the total width of this element will be content width, which is 200 pixel, plus left padding, the left padding, which is 10 pixel, plus the right padding, which is 10 pixel, plus the left padding, which left border, which is 2 pixel. This is it. Which is what, 2 pixel, plus right border, which is also what, 2 pixel, then plus left margin 20 pixel, plus right margin 20 pixel. All will now total to, say, if you calculate all that I've said, you will see that all will be 264 pixel. You understand? So the total height of this element will be content height, which is 100 pixel, and top padding, which is also 10 pixel, plus bottom padding, which is 10 pixel, to top border, which is 2 pixel, to bottom border, which is 2 pixel, plus 10 plus top margin, which is 20 pixel, plus bottom margin, which is what, 20 pixel, all equals to 164 pixel. So this is a simplified explanation of CSS board model. So understand, but in reality, of course, there are different box model versions, such as we have the standard box model and the box sizing border box, you understand, model, which affect how the width and height are calculated. So the standard box model adds padding and border to the specified width and height, while the border box model includes padding and border within the specified width and height, making it more intuitive to work with. Let's see. Let's go to our listing. Let me inspect and show you how the box model look like. Control right click the body of your web page and inspect. When you click on inspect, you will see a boss here. This is the boss model. You understand? So let me start from, this is the content. You will see that it's our content. Like I still told you, remember that by default our content is aligned left. I don't know if I said right in the past, but it's left, of course, to the left side of your view, and I gave you an assignment as to what to do with this. So you'll see this is the content which I explained earlier, and of course after the content is what we have, the padding. You understand? The padding is commonly noticed when we have text. You understand? The padding had space between the element and the border. You understand? This is the space between the what, the element, which is the content, and the border. So it adds space between the element. Now take a look at this. This is the padding. Let me hover around it. Okay, it won't be obvious. So here is the what, the padding. So the padding had space, like I said, between the element and the border. It pushes the border away by the specified pixel. You understand? So this is, then we move to the border. Now remember I told you, of course, what the border is. This is the border, and of course we have the margin. The margin is what gives space outside of the border. So let's say you can think of it as this. Say, let's say, okay, let me just create something here. Let's say we have, let me say we have a box here. Sorry, pardon me for my drawing. Let's say we have a box here. Let's say this is our web page. Okay, let's say we have let's say we have okay, let's say we have something here. Let's say we have, assuming this is our screen, let's say we now have say this is it. Now this is our content. Here is our content. Then of course, let's say from here to here we have what, 20 pixel. This is our padding. We have what, 20 pixel. Sorry, I don't know how to write with pen on screen. Then this is our border. You understand? So this is our border, this side is our border, and of course what we have after border is what, we have the margin. So there's another unseen, say, kind of broken line here. For example, we have some kind of broken line here, and this place is our margin. So the margin is always what gives the spaces outside of our border. You understand? This is the border. What gives the spaces outside our border is the margin. So if you go to the inspect, like that I've shown you, of any website, you will see the box model with self-explanation on this concept of border, padding, and margin. So that is that about that. So let's move to the next class, which is the next lesson, which is gonna be remember I told you we're gonna be doing 3 major lessons, which is which we've done. In fact, we've even done like say 3. So let's say the next one is CSS Cascade. CSS Cascade. CSS Cascade. What is CSS Cascade? If you've been asked what a CSS Cascade is, you see CSS Cascade simply talks about the flow of styling elements in order of importance, which comes from top to bottom. I think that should give you the simplest definition as to what the CSS Cascade means. So let me give a profound definition of what it is. The term CSS Cascade refers to the process by which multiple CSS rules are applied to an HTML document to determine the final styles and layout of its elements. So when a browser renders a web page, so it has to take into account different sources of CSS rules, and sometimes multiple conflicting rules may apply to the same element. So the cascade is like the mechanisms that resolves this conflict and determine which style sheet should be applied. You understand? So we have different kind of CSS cascade. So the CSS cascade operates based on 3 important principles, if not 4. I'll give 4 though, but 3 important. We have the kind of let me see, if you're talking about the CSS cascade, we're going to be talking about the position. We're going to be talking about the position, excuse me, position. We're going to be talking about the specificity. We're going to be talking about the type. We're going to be talking about the importance. We're going to be talking about the importance. So by specificity is let me start with specificity. I think this is okay. Let me start with, okay, let me just start with specificity. Specificity is a measure of how specific a CSS rule is targeting a particular element. You understand? So each CSS selector has specificity value, which determines its importance in the cascade. A more specific selector will override a less specific one. That is just what it means, you know. So the specificity value is usually calculated based on the combination of some following factors, you know, like inline styles. An inline style has the highest specificity because it is applied directly to the element using the style attribute. Then we have the ID selector. The ID selector have a kind of higher specificity than class selector or tag selector. Then we have the class selector and attribute selector. These have a medium specificity value. Then we have the type selector, which is a tag. The type selector have the lowest specificity value. So if two rules conflict for the same element, the one with the higher specificity value we take precedence. You understand? So then we have the type. Let me say the position. The position shows the that the importance of CSS style application to element is dependent on the position. You understand? So the lower down the style, the more important it is. Let me give a code to how let's see how this is working in practical. So that let me go here. I don't need this. I just created to explain something. Let's say, let me use our H1. You understand? Let's say no, let me use okay, let me use H1. Let's say we have like I said, the lower down the style, the more important it is. Let's say we have something like, say, color. Let me say color. Let me choose color. Let me choose color brown, and of course, let me create another color. Let me choose color. Let me choose aquamarine. You understand? Let me choose aquamarine, and let's see which one we apply. You know, we have two properties here with different value. So like I said, we said the lower down the style, the more important it is. So let's see, you can guess which one is more important here. So let's see, we have two properties, they are conflicting here. So let's see the one that will be selected between these two. So let's stop our server, let's go live. You will see that aquamarine is selected because it is the one that is lower down the style and it is considered to be more important. So that is what I'm trying to say. So let's say I want to create another I want to target the same H1 here. I want to create, let me create another color here. Let me say this one would be, say, green. Let me create, no, let me not create something close. Let me create no, I don't want to create something close. Let me, yellow, yes. Let's see, dark orange, yes. Let's see which one will be let's see which one will be selected here. You understand? Let's see which one will be selected. You know, I said the lower down, the more important. So this is lower to these because it is coming down, it selects it. So we have now three conflicting properties, you know, targeting the same element. So let's now see which one will be selected here. Okay, sorry, excuse me. If we go here, you will see that this one is selected, the dark orange. Why is that? It is the what? The one that is lower down. You understand? So that is that. I didn't give example on the definition of specificity. Remember, I told you that specificity refers to how specific a selector is in terms of the element the CSS rule is to be applied to. So if you have, okay, let me give an example. The first one I said if I said that if you target the inline CSS is more specific. You know, if we try to design the inline, if you target the inline CSS, it is more specific. That is not debatable. Do you understand? So we have the element. I want to give you an assignment here. So that we confirm that you're following up. Let me say assignment. Let me write it in uppercase so that it will be visible. Then put it in the center. Tap. So enter. The assignment is I want you to use apply specificity on okay on the CS on okay, let me say create an h1 tag and say call it name. Okay, call it name, then create a p tag and write your name there and write your name. Create a p tag and write your name. So apply specificity rule on it. CSS specificity rule on it. So in this case, what are you going to be creating? You're going to be targeting 4 things. So we want to see which one is more specific. You're going to be targeting element directly. Target will be say element. You target element. You target say class. You target attribute. We target attribute, and of course we target ID. So you have to create all those. Of course, you know how to create elements, class. Of course, elements, you target element directly by creating each one and p tag. Those are elements. You create class, you create attribute, you create ID. So create CSS for each, and let's see which one is more, which one will be more specific in terms of CSS cascading. You understand? So the next one we're going to be talking about is the type. The type talks about the level of CSS style importance from 3 different types of applying CSS. We have the inline, the internal, and the external, which I have explained before. Remember that the inline is applying it directly to the element, while the internal is applying it directly by creating a style tag and nexting all the CSS rule inside the style tag. And external is by linking the CSS from a CSS file through the link on the head tag. So that one is not debatable. So of course you should know that. Then so the most important of all this is in terms of applying CSS rule is the inline, as it targets the element directly. Then the least important is the internal, and of course the least of them is what? External. So the last one is importance. The last one I think is this importance. So what is the importance? This select the style importance after explicitly specifying the important keyword. Let me apply it and see what I'm trying to say. You see, irrespective of the fact that this one, the down it goes, the more specific it becomes. But I can create a keyword here and I will override these 2 that are more specific to this than this. You understand? So let me use them brown. You know, this this is greater than this is more important to this, then this is more important to this. But let me create the keyword, the important keyword here, and see which one is going to be targeted. So we have let me create a keyword. Of course, we all know that the down one, the lower down, is greater than this one, and this one is greater than this one. So I want to override those. So let's say brown, and I can just say shift this, as create an exclamation mark. Of course, IntelliSense has already known what we are going to do. So by clicking enter, so if I render this on the web page, you will see that it will select brown, overriding the law of CSS Cascade in terms of say position. You understand? It override the position rules of CSS Cascade. So let's see how this is working in practical. I don't need to make any changes. You will see that of course it overrode, or it's overriding the importance aspect of the CSS Cascade. So that is that. Then next class will be combining selectors. So our next class will be combining selector. So thank you for sticking with us on this lecture. We have come to the conclusion of this aspect. So the next, like I said, next class will be on combining selector. If you enjoy this class, feel free to share our videos on YouTube. Click the like button if you are making sense to you. Of course, if you have not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe to our channels and click on the notification bell, so as for you to get a reminder whenever videos like these have been posted. Thank you very much for your time all this while. God bless.